back to Swangard Stadium. It is the last game of TSS FC Rovers' inaugural season. It's sad, but it's also exciting because we've seen more of an inspired performance than we have in the past with the TSS Rovers, and we've seen a number of players step up in different positions. And speaking of different positions, right now it looks like Connor Hildebrand is playing left back, so that'll be something to watch later on. Ryan Dillon has it forward. Sorry, that's Mitchell Papanides, my bad. Same kind of stature. Arion Blackstock plays it off the chest of Kerman Panu. Johnson in field. There's a long shot just wide of Hicks's goal, and I think he would have had it covered either way. Big goal kick for the Rovers. Edward now with a nice strike from distance. Friday night, the Canadian men national team take on Honduras in a much anticipated atmosphere, but again, the conditions for that game will be very interesting given the fact they have to play in Dallas as well as Houston. If different MLS teams go to those two cities and they usually get ripped apart because of the heat and the travel. So we'll see if that plays a factor, but I'm sure rotation will be in the offing for Octavio Zambrano, the Canadian men's coach, as it was yesterday. Or I should say as Bruce Arena for the U.S. did today and rotated the crap out of his squad. Bring in a number of MLS players as well today. Compared to the last match, Derek Johnson plays it to Arion Blackstock. Back to Derek Johnson, all the way back to Reekshuk. Or Renuka, I should say. Ball this time doesn't roll out into the hole of the field. Stay in play. Kerman Panu will have to wait for that ball to come off the field. Michael, you must be tired announcing 2 games today.
A lot of talking.
A lot of talking, for sure.
There was also a podcast recording in between, which I opted out of, so it's just Steve and Zach doing that. That's going to be up on AFTN on Thursday.
Kerman Panu will get the throw for the Rovers.
And we'll have a full season roundup for TSS on AFTN, so check that out in the coming week. We'll have our photographs from tonight as well from the wonderful Tom Iwaziak at Residual Image. Give him a follow on Twitter.
Ryan Dillon gets the ball. Way by Arion Blackstock, and Alejandro Varela heads it down to Satoshi Chafin. Plays it far down that right-hand side. Edward Nah. Nah settles it. Off of Casey French, who's a high delivery, and Zach Verhoeven gets it to Connor Hildebrand. Hildebrand taken down there. Keeps on his feet nicely, though. Good play from Hildebrand to regain his height after being shoved down there. Dill moves in on Arion Blackstock.
Just cut out there, but TSS keeping the pressure on. Hildebrand just can't keep that in. And TSS started this half the way that they finished the first. They're on the front foot. They're wanting to finish with a flourish. They definitely would like to have not only a couple of goals victory, but keep a clean sheet. Something that's eluded them this year. Andrew Hicks, I feel, deserves to have that clean sheet against his name.
They had their heart broken a couple of weeks ago against Victoria and losing in the 84th minute. And the defender, Shogoto, scored an excellent volley to win the game. But Andrew Hicks and I'm sure his defenders, his makeshift backline as well tonight. The 2 defenders on the right side would like to get that one there.
And that was TSS Rovers' only home defeat of the season. It really stings Colin Elms. He was telling me on Sunday, it stings even more because he felt it was a really bad team, to quote his words, that they lost against. And you have to feel if they could just have held on, had an unbeaten season at home, the marketing that would have allowed them. It's like, come and see us, we don't lose, it's a fortress. So they had that taken away from them. So at least if they can finish with a multi-goal victory here, that will be something for them.
I think the entertainment factor for sure is still there. I was going to say right when we started halftime break there that changes might be in the offing for Rover just because of the fact of the injured players, but there's no players that are coming back from injury on the field right now, so you could see this team playing out, staying the same. The only player I could see change is Verhoeven or Pena just because of the long travel, but that was also a while ago. They came back last week, so.
Yeah, Verhoeven did feel it on Sunday, though. He was subbed out. He didn't have a lot in his tank for that game. The travel had drained him, and it was very hot in the pitch in Victoria. Had a bit of a run around on it before kick-off. Missing an open goal from the penalty spot.
Of course.
I was trying to try out. I thought if I impress Colin, then I might get a chance. Missed it, turned around to see if he was watching. Of course he was.
Maybe you'd be the only overager on the team this year.
He is looking at trying to get that for next year. It's one of the things We had a really good chat on the ferry ride over as to what he's looking to do for the team next year. Still wants to go with the Canadian content. That's very important to them. That is basically their unique selling point that they're going for with the team. But they do, as I alluded to in the first half, they want to cast the net a little bit wider, not just have BC guys, get some billet families here, get some talent from elsewhere.
It's good to have different players from different parts across the country, and maybe Alberta, Saskatchewan type of thing, but I'm sure the exposure for the Rovers is something they're going to look into doing next year. Derek Johnson. Nice ball there.
Yeah, that was offside.
Edward, now, of course, it was offside as he was away steps behind the defender.
Edna offside there.
As Joe Deasy celebrates it offside there, another one for the Sounders U23.
First one of the match. That's why Joe is celebrating. He likes his offsides.
I'm sure Colin was talked about earlier in the season how many times the Rovers went offside in that first game and a couple games before that and preseason, that they always jumped offside, and that was okay for him as long as they weren't too early offside. But either way, that they did finish their chances early on. They're getting a lot more goal-scoring opportunities later on in the season, as you see right now. Davidson low cross, and Cam Frost got down as Connor Hildebrandt. It's another chemistry thing there. You didn't see a lot this season with players acknowledging each other, thinking of ideas of way to pass the ball, but right there, a nice acknowledgement from Davidson to Hildebrandt that he thought of him there. Just a little bit too close to the goalkeeper, Cam Frost, by Dan Davidson.
There's a good team spirit, and I saw it over the weekend. I travelled over with the team to Victoria. The guys all get on well. Some are a lot quieter than others, but a lot of that is, of course, just due to age, because there's a lot of young guys. But a lot of these guys know each other from playing against each other in CIS, playing with each other as well. And they've put all their local rivalries aside to bond as a team. And it's, as you say, it's sad to see the season over because they're just starting to find their feet. Colin now, I know, is a little bit frustrated as well because he's worked hard to get these guys and now he has to give them back to their colleges and he won't see them again until maybe April, May next year.
Yeah, that'll be something players will age and grow and some won't, as this one flicked on in the head just wide there. Nice flick on header by Sounders, and that's Troy Peterson getting on the end of it. We haven't heard a lot of tonight.
Just eluding him at the back post there. Nicely flicked on. And yeah, it's like Derek Johnson with the outstretched leg, trying to tuck that away, just couldn't reach it. Bit of a let off for TSS. You don't want to let Seattle get back into this game. They're a team that's done well this year. They've scored a lot of goals. We know that TSS have struggled when they start to give goals up. Sounders, on the year, 19 goals from their 12 matches so far. 120 shots they've registered, so they're averaging like 10 shots a game.
Hicks up to the task there. He'll settle it down.
In comparison, TSS Rovers from their 13 matches, 77 shots.
Andrew Hicks, nice ball there as he kind of curled it outside of his foot. Daniel Davidson settles it down nicely there for the Rovers. To Kerman Panu. Been a stalwart defensively tonight for the Rovers. He has usually been in midfield this season. He hasn't started a lot of games behind Joel Waterman. Mamadi Kamar gets his chance tonight. Zach Verhoeven, here comes Ziggy. Ziggy trying to cut it back, and that one out for Rovers corner again. You see the pace and skill of Zach Verhoeven trying to elude the defense there of the Sounders U23. 2-0 Rovers here. Just nearing 10 minutes past halftime. Corner kick for Mr. Connor McMillan, who has caused problems tonight. The final ball from him tonight hasn't been there. The rest of the season he's had. He's got a couple assists on the year.
The Rovers will really want to try and get a goal at this Swan Guardians end. Celebrate with them.
McMillan in, swinger headed down in front of goal, and Hildebrandt just missed the touch there. It would have been 2 and 3 for him, or I should have said 3 and 3 for him, but remains 2 and 3 with a good chunk of the soccer game left to play.
Nearly getting that goal. It was a much better corner. They've worked hard on improving their set pieces, and I think we've seen the benefits of it tonight. Some of the delivery has been a lot better. I was very critical the last game about some of the delivery that they were putting in, and it's looked a lot better than it did on Sunday in Victoria.
Connor McMillan, I think, fouled his man. Not sure what's up with that one, offside or something like that. Get a free kick here for the Rovers on halfway. Now, you had the chance to see this Rovers team in Sunday, and I can say a scoring rate of how different and dynamic this team looks from Sunday, what would you say, number 1 to 10, how different the growth has been from that game?
This is like a 7. They just look dangerous on the ball tonight, and although they had the ball a lot against Victoria and they pushed in the second half, the delivery and their play in the final third, and especially around the edge of the box, was severely lacking. And they've looked just way, way more dangerous on the ball tonight. I don't think you can just put that down either to them being at home, because Victoria is one of their shorter kind of travel things. It's still at least in the same country, although it was a long, long day getting the 9 o'clock ferry. But they've just looked far sharper tonight.
Ball way downfield, headed away by Kerman Panu. Ariane Blackstock. Derek Johnson. Trevor Jensen to Blackstock. Nice turn there by Blackstock. And over the top. Marcel Polici will let that one go.
They've looked a lot better defensively tonight as well. The goals which they let in on Sunday, both from corner kicks, we talked about it in the first half. They've really struggled, TSS, to defend corner kicks all year. And they had a friendly on Thursday night as well, where they lost a couple of goals to the BC Summer Games team, both on corner kicks.
Of course. Hicks will play it away. One player I'm sure got lots of action in that game was Race Williams, new signing from Douglas College Royals.
He's a guy that's had time in Italy, played over there a little bit, has been playing with Delta. I think in the Fraser Valley League, it could be VMSL, but I'm pretty sure it's the Fraser Valley Delta team. Hard to keep track, so many teams out there in Delta.
The land of farm and many soccer teams. That one up there, Davidson tried to get over Cam Frost. So that's Taktasaka and Race Williams, the only available outfield substitutes. Unless they want to put Aiden Bain out as an outfielder, but
I think they should. It's like Aiden's been very patient all year. Bring him on. Maybe if it goes to 3-0, they will like take Hicksy off and put Aiden Bain in for a little bit of a spell and goal, because they have got him warming up, and they don't usually have the goalkeepers warming up. So maybe that's the plan. I did tweet to them that they have to let him play. I'd put him up front. What harm can that do?
Maybe it'd be like a Kendall Waston situation where initially came here. Some thought he was a striker, turned out to be a center back. So interesting to see if that happens here for the Rovers.
East Fife had a goalkeeper in the 70s actually that played both as goalkeeper and up front. So if you're doing your bingo card tonight, that's the East Fife reference to check off on that.
There haven't been a lot of bingo spots that have been filled tonight by Michael, so.
No, I'm going to be doing a new Whitecaps one soon as well. I think I've decided to give the free middle squares just fine lines, because that's obviously going to get chalked off every interview that Robo does.
Cam Frost.
Cry from the crowd there of what are you doing? I'm not sure if that was to us or if it was to what was going on the pitch there.
Rukuka will settle it down here for the Sounders U23. Got a lot of chances to spread the ball around the park tonight for the and in turquoise blue shorts and white shirts. Kicking off from the right to left in the second half as tradition. Zach Verhoeven beats past his man, plays it to Connor McMillan. McMillan has got one on his man, and he's got Matteo Polici, and one just off the foot of Matteo Polici. Unfortunately there, the Rovers' chance gone awry. Derek Johnson to Troy Peterson. He'll switch it far right side for Tosi. And nicely done there by Mitchell Papadines. Wins it back for Connor Hildebrand. Tosi Chafin. Gave it away there to Ariane Blackstock. Back for Ariane Blackstock, then to Derek Johnson. Connor Hildebrand did well to get it off the foot of Derek Johnson. Ryan Dillon. Connor McMillan, lovely stuff there from the Rovers. Little bars of style, as that's the style of play Colin Elms, the head coach, likes to play. Kind of a tiki-taka kind of style of play. As throwing all the way back there. Derek Johnson tried to cheat, throw it a few feet higher, and Aaron Blackstock will have to retreat off the head of Kerman Panu for a Rovers throw-in. Still 3-2 United States over Martinique, or that's the final score, I should say. 3-2 U.S. beat Martinique. Hopefully I didn't spoil any of those listeners watching after the game, because
well, you spoiled it for me. I was PVR in the game, but that's all right.
former Sounder, long time, 1 year tenure for Mr. Kevin Parsman, who scored twice for Martinique, now has 3 on the tournament. Ball high up in the air. Rel leaves it for Hicks.
You seem very happy that he scored.
I was. I read about a story earlier this week about him and he impressed in the Whitecaps in 2014 preseason in Tucson, where he scored an excellent volley and they signed him on. And unfortunately, had an ACL injury, but I'm happy to see him back producing. Just love him because of the name. It's kind of an Italian dressing kind of style name. Is that one over the goal? Maybe some Parmesan on salad or something like that. So Andrew Hicks will get the goal kick here for the Rovers. One sub warming up right now for the Sounders U23. That is Vince McCluskey. Excellent sounding name.
Yeah, he's definitely a Scottish sounding guy. He has a Scottish sounding look as well.
I think when he heard Michael say he's Scottish, he ran off into the tunnel there, as you saw.
I do see a man bun warming up on the side for Seattle as well, so that's not a good sign. I thought we were going to have a man bun free game.
Connor Hildebrand, as the Sounders cheated a bit there, played the ball quickly, but referee says it's okay as Adam Jones gets it. He's kind of cooled off here in the second half after having a hot start, getting the ball a lot, playing it around. Derek Johnson down that left wing, and almost, I don't know if you remember, Michael, but a couple years ago in a Brazilian second league game, a player went to celebrate and he fell right through a hole. Do you remember that? I was thinking before walking to the game that someone might happen tonight, but there's gates in the way. But
you don't want someone to get overly excited and then jump the barrier, not knowing there's a giant hole on the other side.
That was one of the better moments in recent soccer history for me. Be a goal kick for Andrew Hicks here. 2-0 Rovers still. Goals from Connor Hildebrand and Daniel Davidson. Not sure if that was a Davidson goal or an own goal. I think it was Davidson's goal either way. But
I'm giving it to Davidson. So we've got the official word in that. So, yep, Davidson's 5th goal. Or 6th, depending if he gets his one back from the start of the year.
Not to mention his 1 assist as well. That one played in dangerously over the head of Adam Jones. Go ahead.
Because the TSS guys are adamant that they were told that all the stats for that first game was going to count, but they have disappeared off the scoring charts. Because I was debating, do you still class Davidson as scoring Rovers' first ever goal as a club?
Yeah.
And that's a debate to have another time.
So Michael will be very happy here that Vince McCluskey is about to come into the game for the Sounders U23, that wearing the number 14. As he'll put the bib back on, I should say.
Not so happy, though, that Tyler John has come on. Not only does he have a man bun, but I was always told never trust anyone that has 2 first names. And Tyler John now on the pitch for Seattle. Coming on for Kevin Johnson.
Derek Johnson.
Derek Johnson. I don't know who the hell Kevin Johnson is. He's come on for Derek Johnson. It's the end of the season.
Tyler John heads that one nicely there to the foot of Satoshi Chafin. Chafin chips ahead of his man, and he's got some pace. And Andrew Hicks, who actually coaches my friend's son soccer team, played to Mitchell Papadinets.
And Chafin's done a lot of running tonight. He's bound to be chafing after that.
Oh boy. Cross that one off your bingo Michael list. That was a dirty joke. So Alejandro Varela off his foot out of play for the Rovers. Right into the parking lot there. Hopefully we don't hear a car alarm soon. Hope you have your BCAA cards out for you.
And a double substitution now. The 2 and 3 of the night coming up for Seattle. Coming on number 11, Randall McDermott. Another good Scottish name.
So I just got a motion there from Thomas Brown that ball might have gone off of Brown's car. So we'll see if something progresses after the game there. Hopefully as ICBC, but either way. Be a throw in here all the way to McCluskey, the admitted substitute. So that's Derek Johnson in.
No, Derek Johnson's out.
Sorry, Derek Johnson out for Tyler John in, and Vince McCluskey in for the number 12 of the Sounders U23, Mr. Edward Nan. Oh, that one off the chest there. McCluskey jumped down and it's in. Off the chest of Tyler John, the substitute, and it's a goal for Mr. Vince McCluskey, the Scottish-sounding name, and the Sounders U23 pull one back here in the 65th minute by Mr. Vince McCluskey for the Sounders U23 here from Swangard Stadium. Unfortunate again for Willie that they concede a goal in every game, but either way, could see a sub coming in very soon here for the Rovers.
An immediate impact from Seattle there from McCluskey. He looked around, he wasn't sure that he wasn't offside. I wasn't sure that he wasn't offside either, but it counts. 2-1 game, still a lead for TSS. The action and the pace has definitely dipped in this half, and that doesn't suit TSS.
Daniel Davidson working on his man Renuka. To Zach Verhoeven. Ziggy cuts inside. Always kind of on the edge of your seats when Zach Verhoeven gets the ball. As I'm sure many Canada fans feel about Alphonso Davies. Nice tackle from Verhoeven. And referee deems it a foul. You'd have to think there's some kind of sponsorship deal or something coming for Alphonso Davies. The way he's playing right now, he is quite young. He's sheltered a lot, but he's playing like he's the next best thing for Canada. But again, we don't want to overhype him.
Well, whenever Fonzie's in the team, it's happy days.
That one flicked on again, and there was Arian Blackstock trying to get there for it. And the left back of the Sounders chips it forward. And the foul there. Troy Peterson. McCluskey, the goal scorer, kind of a super sub situation for the Sounders. Came on and scored.
And it's disappointing not to get their first clean sheet of the year. I know Hicks was really looking forward to trying to get that. But the important thing now is to hold on. It's going to be a long 25 minutes plus stoppage time, you feel, because that goal's given Seattle a real spur, and the substitutions have as well.
Yeah. Substitutions don't normally pay off for teams if they use them wrong, and right there you saw McCluskey comes in and pays dividends right away.
Saw it this afternoon in the WFC2 game. Swope Park Rangers brought Belmar on as a sub. He turned the game for them, got the winning goal. And you need to have those impact players on the bench. And it's just been the problem for TSS with so many injuries. They just haven't been able to have impact guys on the bench. And with all respect to the guys that is on the bench just now for TSS, Tasaka and Race Williams, they're not guys that you really have down as being game changers.
Yeah, as good as they may be, they haven't been around. Race Williams hasn't played more than 2 games for the Rovers, and Tasaka hasn't got significant minutes.
Here's a game
Verhoeven.
changer.
Here comes Ziggy with a chip and a good save from Cam Frost. You'd have to think if he just went the left side of Frost, he might have had a chance to tap it in the open net. Either way, good chance for Zach Verhoeven there.
Great stop there from Frost. He has ice in his veins.
Matteo Polisi. Nice touch here. Connor McMillan to Dan Davidson. Kind of dropped back a bit. Verhoeven's moved up. Connor McMillan to Mitchell Papadinitz, one of the better sounding names in this Rover team.
Dillon's got a lot of room out here on the right wing if they can try and switch the ball to him.
2 goals on the season for Mr. Ryan Dillon. Yeah, as we were saying before Verhoeven had that chance, it's great to have Race Williams and attack Tasaka there, but Tasaka is only 17. Race Williams, a new player. Not guys that you want to look to bring a game within or even to hold the lead there. So, fortunately with the Rovers, their injury troubles, they don't have the personnel. Renuka almost turned away there, and he did. Daniel Davidson. Cam Frost did well to get out there. Plays it all the way in 3/4 down the field. And a nice header down there from Kerman Panu.
Davidson's not the fastest guy in the TSS team. You have to feel if that was maybe Dillon or Verhoeven chasing that down, they would maybe have had a slightly better chance. But Dillon's trying to chase this one down.
Ryan Dillon off his foot. Looking on his man, Renuka. Cuts it back again. Couple of step overs from Dillon. Davidson. McMillan. Commentators curse you with all these alien-sounding names. And
wins a free kick, though.
One thing to talk about replays earlier today was that VAR was used in the Whitecaps FC2 game. I don't think there was an instant in that game that...
No, there wasn't, and I was really looking forward to commentating on that, but nothing was really called. They reviewed the goals, but they were obviously... There's only one, and there was nothing up for it. But I had a really interesting chat about the whole system before the match started, so we'll talk about that for a little bit after this free kick.
Be Connor McMillan stepping up. There was a bit of controversy in the Confederations Cup over the VAR review, but we'll get to that in a minute. McMillan plays it down there, and again, nobody there for it.
We should just have kept talking. Yeah, I was speaking to one of the Canada soccer guys that's been at a number of workshops for VAR, and he told me a lot of interesting things about it. One of them, if a player, like if it's a game where VAR is in force and a player makes the square television gesture, that is an automatic booking. And if a coach on the sideline makes one of the gestures, they're dismissed. It's an automatic dismissal from the sidelines.
Very harsh, this VAR system, for sure.
The other interesting aspect about it as well is the game could go on for a couple of minutes but still be called back. As long as the ball hasn't gone out of play and then restarted. I mean, it could go up the other end of the pitch and be kept in for 2 or 3 minutes, and then if it's still reviewed, he will call it back. So the only time he can't call it back is if it's gone out, the game has stopped, and then they restart without the decision. So, I mean, you could be going... Another team could go up the pitch and score, and then it doesn't count because they've called it back at the other end.
It's a long shot. I'm sure a lot of hockey fans would know that the reviews this season for offside have kind of had the same impact as VAR potentially could be, positive or negative way. But I'm sure many England fans know that in 2010 against Germany, they'd like to have a chance there for that to be used. It wasn't. Speaking of soccer here, Adam Jones will come out of the game for the Sounders U23, a bright spot we talked about before the game. He's out. And in comes Colton Cavey for the Sounders U23.
And a strangely unimpactful game from Jones. I mean, we've seen him so dangerous for years with SFU and with the Sounders. TSS defence has handled him well tonight. They'll be glad to see him off the pitch. You kind of wonder whether that's with a view of maybe keeping him for the start on Friday, because the games do come thick and fast in PDL.
So Hicks with a goal kick deep inside his own half. About 20 minutes to go in the Rovers season. 2-1 right now for the men in red and white. And Alejandro Varela with a jiu-jitsu-esque kick up in the air. Nice bump there, McCluskey, and he'll find a streaking man down the right-hand side here. That might be Randall McDermott, and it is, and it's a nice move there away from his man. McDermott came in. That's a high ball there right to the hands of Andrew Hicks. Safekeeping.
Yeah, he'll eat those up all day. Not any danger at all. And TSS, although they've lost the first 2 games against Seattle, they did give good accounts of themselves. And this is a Seattle team that is packed full of NCAA Division 1 players. There's not many Division 1 guys on the TSS roster. Andre Bears is one that's at Wisconsin. But they've come up against a lot of Division 1 players, and they've not had too many real blowouts this season.
Yeah. There was a 3-0 loss in Portland, which was a tough game to watch for sure, just given the atmosphere. Like we've talked about so many times at many different levels, Portland will bring in, that ball played towards Hicks, Portland will bring in miraculous and incredible high amounts of velocity of fans, no matter what level of soccer it is, whether it's MLS, USL, Women's League, or even the PDL. They will bring in very large amounts of people to watch soccer in Portland. That's just the way it is there. And unfortunately, we couldn't see that this season with different teams, but glad to see that the Rovers did compete against most teams in this division. And unlike most other teams in inaugural season, they haven't been blown out a whole lot. So nice to see them compete against different teams.
And there is a lot to take forward. There's been some real standout performances. We talked obviously about Andrew Hicks and Zach Verhoeven. Daniel Davidson, for me, he's been hot and cold. When he's on his game, he's looked really good. He's a guy that has previous PDL experience. And I think next year what they need to do is maybe bring in a few more guys, maybe a few older guys that can kind of calm this team down, because when you've got such a young team, when you're facing sort of bad times and a lot of games where they've had to chase the game or they've given up leads, you need to have a couple of old heads in there to steady the ship. And I think that's what they've lacked. So the search is already on for players for next year. They've been reaching out to a few contacts that they know all across Canada.
New sub coming into the game here for Sounders U23. It's Stian Sandbekog, if I can get that right.
I was letting you do that one. Let's just call him Sandy.
Sandy. Stian Sandbekog comes into the game for the Sounders U23. So thankfully Michael didn't mispronounce that one, or else you would have checked another bingo box off your list.
That's the only thing with since I've been doing the WFC2 games, you get the game notes beforehand, and every player explains how they're pronounced. So we have kind of missed that. It's been a learning job for us as well this season. Hope you've enjoyed our games that we've brought to you.
Yeah, we thank you a lot for having patience and tuning out, and even coming up to the games that hopefully we are able to get you off your couch or wherever you may be watching these games and come to the Swan Garden and enjoy the spectacle that is Burnaby Central Park and all that it brings, the ambiance and the smells. And just thank you for joining us here on TV or on computer or even in the park here tonight or all season long. As the sun sets here on another stunning day from Swan Garden. Can't say we've had a bad afternoon. Although I will say the game we had against Victoria last Sunday was incredibly humid, but
yeah,
still a good soccer game either way. 3-1 win for the Rovers on that day. Renuka had it down there, and it'll be Troy Peterson controlling.
I don't know if you can hear, there's a nice cream van pulled into the car park here.
Oh, the Hicks just about mistakenly lost that one there, and you know it's ice cream truck when it's the best time of year, the summertime. Wish I had a couple bucks on me now. I went over and grabbed one.
Cam Frost wanting to get a Frosty, live up to his name.
Cheesy joke, that's another one. Andrew Hicks will have to play this one away for the Rovers. Kerman Panu, for a guy that has played numerous positions for club and the Rovers tonight, has been very good at right back. He's intercepted quite a few plays, and Matteo Polisi and Marcel Polisi have looked good in the roles. They've kind of dropped back each other in the lineup tonight.
Yeah, the more they play together again, you're going to see the best coming out of them, and you're going to get a chance to see that all next season up at SFU Clan. If you get a chance to go and see any of these guys' college games, really encourage you to get out. UBC Thunderbirds, SFU Clan, both fantastic teams, a lot of top talent, really entertaining games. SFU Clan as well.
Drop down there, nice kick from Kerman Panner to play it away. Ryan Dillon sidesteps this man, Tyler John. Dillon getting on his horse again here. Dillon has McMillan and Verhoeven with him. He'll find Verhoeven. Ball eludes him a little bit, working on Arion Blackstock, who's switched to the right wing here. Verhoeven with a bit of a shirt tug, and it'll be a foul, says the referee. I'm sure Verhoeven has had many fouls now for a yellow card, but referee doesn't give him one.
Yeah, what's just a way to say about SFU there? They're the only Canadian club or team university in the NCAA. Free admission to their games as well, free parking on game days up at the mountain. UBC Thunderbirds, storied team in CIS soccer, U Sports as the new name for it is. They'll be wanting to get back to winning a national trophy. Been a couple of years now since they've won that.
Drop down here, good chance, played across goal, a drop down, and a shot is in. Right through the legs of Andrew Hicks, and guess who? Stian Sambakog scores the goal for the Sounders U23. We are tied here 2-2 in the 78th minute, and the look on Willie Cormack's face says it all. That disappointing that the Rovers concede there, and you got to say, Michael, that was a goal that the Rovers could have eluded easily if they would have just put a foot out and cleared it out of the box. Either way, unfortunately, they concede to tie the game here 2-2 in the 78th minute.
It's something we've seen all season. They're just really poor at dealing with crosses into the box, whether it's from set pieces, whether it's just from breaks. And Seattle, you have to feel, are favourites now. If any team's going to go on and win this, they're in the ascendancy. Very much a game of two halves. TSS have dropped off the game considerably.
A couple of guys for Sounders. Congrats to them scoring their first of the seasons. That's Vince McCluskey and Stian Stankabag. Can't say the name properly.
It's another Ofosu.
Let's not go down that road again. That was a terrible 2 days against the Victoria Highlanders, pronouncing those names. Nice to see the Sounders again spreading out the scoring. You mentioned that's now 14 different players that have scored this year for them. Rovers would like to have that kind of spread scoring, but it just hasn't happened the way that things have gone this year.
They'd like to have 14 fit players to field for matches, never mind scorers.
Arian Blackstock sells this one down. I don't think Colin has named the same starting 11 at all this year.
I don't think he's been able to.
Right. Yeah. Kerman Panu with a head away. Nice ball there to
lovely ball.
Stian Stankabog, and he tried the first time volley. Give full credit to Stankabog. That looked like he's a left-footed player playing on the left side, but that right-footed volley was delicious through the legs of Andrew Hicks and right into the back of the net, and that's the equalizer for the Sounders U23.
So uncharacteristic of Hicks as well to get beaten like that. We've seen him stop so many things at point-blank range, and to let one through his legs. Hopefully it's the last goal of the season that TSS concede, but he's not going to want to go out of the season on that note.
Yeah. McCluskey brings down the left wing. Working back on Matteo Polisi. Stankovic to McCluskey. Right-footed ball in, headed away by Mitchell Papadinets, and Papadinets will try and get on his feet there and try and get that one inside of play.
And these substitutions have given such a boost to Seattle.
Yeah.
They look like a completely different team now.
Both subs that have come in have actually scored. So you lose Adam Jones, but you gain a couple good goal scorers. That one off of Alejandro Varela for another corner. It doesn't look like the Rovers are going to bring in anybody here. Maybe Race Williams, if anybody, but former Douglas College Royal. Nice ball in there, and off of Matteo Polisi. McCluskey trying to get the header down. Marcel Polisi does a good job to win it for a corner for the Sounders U23. Corner number 5 for the visitors.
Seattle definitely feel, I think, that they've got this game for the taking now.
Corner will be taken here by Vince McCluskey. Nice ball in there, right in front of goal, and it's off the line, and Andrew Hicks gets down, and goodness me, I think the Rovers escaped a calamity at the back there, and Alejandro Varela getting into it there. And Tyler John comes in, and we have a bit of frustration, and a few things happening there is Varela and Tyler John got into it as well, but referee blows it down. Good job by the Rovers there. Polisi to step in. Cool heads prevail finally. Again, Darren Sawatsky waving around like a soccer coach in a provincial cup final there.
And he's going to speak to both players here. I think just a talking to, although Varela's lucky if he doesn't get anything here for raising his hands and pushing into the chest of the Seattle player.
That's just for sure frustration boiling over for the season that the Rovers have had. It's been a good first season for sure, exposure-wise for William Cullen, a dream come true, but right now I think one eye is on next year as well with the different players they're looking at, but that's just got to be frustration and anger right now with the way the things have gone in this match tonight, being up 2-0, sitting pretty, and especially after the first half they had, Michael, that was looking like they're going to get maybe 3, maybe even, dare I say, 4 in the night, but right now it's unfortunate for them.
Yeah, amazing turnaround, really, because you did fancy that they were going to get a couple more. If they'd maybe popped another one away in the first half, I think it might have been a completely different story.
Yeah, you'd have to think.
But the pace has dipped in this half, and TSS were really relishing and thriving on an end-to-end game because that allows them to get their fast players quick on the counter-attack. And Tyler John picking up the booking there for Seattle. Very surprising that he got the booking and not Varela at the same time. But
John did come in and give Varela an extra shove, so maybe that's why. But because the other player there, Randall McDermott, did put his hands up, but either way, the referee gives the yellow card to Tyler John, who is the second man in.
I would have booked him for the man bun, so maybe that was what the referee did as well.
We have a free kick here for the Rovers inside their own half. They'll try and push some men up here. Looks like they'll stick with the squad they have here on the field here to finish the 2017 PDL season, a 3-month journey. More of a roller coaster for the Rovers this year, the 14 games they've played. 7 at home, 7 on the road.
Very up and down, and they've got 6 minutes to try and salvage something. You just don't feel it's there, though, for the Rovers. It just looks like Seattle's the team that's going to try and get something going here. The substitutions have added that spark, and they've been a real handful.
Trevor Jensen to Tyler John. Off the back, and from our angle here, it looked like it might swerve into Hicksy's goal, but it rolls out for a corner kick here for the Sounders U23. Should be corner number 6 on the right night.
And Vincent McCluskey has definitely been a handful. He's a really big lad, big build, and he's causing a lot of trouble to this defence. Wouldn't be surprised to see him get on the end of this corner.
That one in swinger there, away. Right back, and that one's a miss kick there from Colton Cavey. Marcelo Polisi plays it away. Zach Verhoeven's got some space. He's working on Arian Blackstock.
It's a 3-on-2
And
break, but Verhoeven just can't bring it down.
fortunate for him, the ball didn't drop to them the way he liked to. Be back and forth here. Stan Sankabog. Went back to Tyler John. Verhoeven missed that one there. Tell you, Willie's facial motion has not changed once this whole season. It's always go, go, go for him. Also Colin, same thing. Right there to Trevor Jensen, and Andrew Hicks gets low and grabs it.
When Colin got on the bus after the loss to the Highlanders on Sunday, after losing the Juan de Fuca plate, I booed him as he got on the bus and told him that we're going to be starting an Elms Out campaign. He told the players he was firing himself, but obviously he's done a good job with these players.
Yeah.
I've spoken to a few of them, especially a couple of the guys that have no longer been playing because of injury, and they've enjoyed their time here. They've liked the environment. A lot of them speak very highly of it, and they're keen to come back next year as well. And that's what he was looking for. He's trying to build something. He wasn't expecting much in year one, but there's a lot of benefits and pluses to take from it, both on and off the pitch.
McCluskey flick on header. And then again out of play. Corner number 8 on the night. Or 7, I should say, for the Sounders U23. Once again, our stats man, Joe Deasy, behind the scenes. Done such a good job since coming on. 4 minutes to go here. Sounders 2, Rovers 2 here from Swangard Stadium. Ball in there from Colton Cavey. Again, McMillan has to come from behind his man. Verhoeven can try and flick it to him. Nice move to elude his man. Turn it over again to Arian Blackstock. Blackstock right for the ball. Good defending from Curran Pano will be a corner kick. That's now number 8 for the Sounders U23. Darren Sawatsky animated on the sidelines here, the Sounders U23 head coach. That is a throw-in, I should say. Randall McDermott on the end of it for the Sounders. Long throw-in. And away by Ali Varela. All right, back to Renuka. Marcelo Polisi header down and right to the foot of Stankabog. He'll let it go for a throw-in for the Sounders U23. Tyler John steps around his man right for the ball into the box. Teo Polisi. Right down a bicycle kick. Oh. That would have been spectacular. Something else if Trevor Jensen, the midfielder / captain for the Sounders U23 team, if he was just a bit over that ball, it would have glided into the top corner graciously for the Sounders U23. But thankfully for Andrew Hicks, it's out of play. He'll get another goal kick here, but that was some good athleticism there from Trevor Jensen.
I mean, no matter what, TSS don't want to end this game with a loss. If they can, they'll be disappointed to give up a 2-goal lead, but they want to finish the season with at least a point. A winning goal for them now, though, is like, ideally from a marketing point of view, what you want to do is like, folk will remember that.
Yeah.
It's last season, the Whitecaps had a terrible season, but they finished by beating the Timbers 4-1, and folk left and they had a spring in their step. The previous seasons where they've made the playoffs and then had one game and gone out, you kind of feel disappointed at the end of the season, but folk were upbeat after that, and that's what TSS will look to try and do here in the closing minutes. Get a goal, send the fans home happy and smiles on their faces.
Speaking of smiling faces, I'm sure Everton fans will be smiling this week when Wayne Rooney Gatza returned after 13 years of Man U, and as well as a bicycle kick. You'll remember he scored back in 2011 against Man City, probably the best goal ever scored by a Man U player, arguably. That one in the box, Trevor Jensen off his foot. I'm sure he's glad to be back with Everton.
I don't know, because he got a lot of abuse from the Everton fans whenever Man U played there after leaving them. There'll be some that will have mixed emotions at Mr. Potato Head's back with him.
Kerman Panda just being stretched out here after a long journey to China. I'm sure a lot of these guys are tired and sore. Almost the whole squad bent over there in tiredness.
TSS, the players just seem to have a aura about them just now that they just want this game to end, I think. It has been a long, testing, trying season for them.
Yeah. See if they can finish this last 1 minute or so plus stoppage time. We'll see maybe a couple minutes or so. Again, this is the last Rovers game of the season. Tyler John bundled over by Daniel Davidson. Good tackle there from Connor Hildebrand. He wins it back for the Rovers. And he's got Daniel Davidson onside for the Rovers if he hurries. Davidson, flag stays down. He's onside. Shot right at Cam Frost. Dropped down for Matteo Polisi. And you got to think that was a chance for Daniel Davidson and the Rovers. Dylan lost possession there.
That was the chance that everyone was waiting for. We talked about trying to send the fans home happy. You're not going to get a much better opportunity than that. Davidson really should have taken that. Good save by Frost. Can't knock the goalkeeper for his efforts, but I mean Davidson really should have buried that.
There was two overall breakaways in the game for the Rovers, the men in red and white, and Cam Frost has stopped both of them there as Ali Varela taken down. And again, Varela stands over his man having some words. That's Vince McCluskey. Varela needs to be careful. He doesn't want to be sent off, trying to keep his spot for next year possibly. Race Williams has been warming up this whole half. Poor guy might not see the field, but see what happens here.
I still bring Aidan Bain on just to give him at least a minute.
Maybe we'll see maybe a Chad Bush next year for the Rovers if it works out initially.
I don't know. It's like if Hicks doesn't have a club, you have to feel he's going to want to come back. He's really been taken to by the supporters. Another break here to win it here.
Ryan Dillon with Matteo Polisi. Plays it square. Polisi scores! And he takes his shirt off, and why not? Matteo Polisi for the TSS FC Rovers. With less than a minute to go in their final season, makes it a 3-2 game, and my goodness, that was something special for TSS.
Oh, it didn't look on the cards at all, but what a nice, cool finish by Polisi. The Swan Guardians over, greeting the players. Ryan Dillon getting hugged for his part in the goal. Polisi as well, he's going to pick up a booking for taking his shirt off. He will not care a jot about that.
That is one of the coolest things I've ever seen in the sport of soccer from Matteo Polisi. Streak down the center field. What a pass as well. Unselfish from Daniel Davidson, or Ryan Dillon, I should say. And the Rovers pull out a 3-2 victory here. Hopefully, if I don't want to get too ahead of myself here, but
there's just seconds remaining. Seattle not happy with that goal at all. Looking for an offside call. Still speaking with the linesman, but it counts. It's 3-2. We wanted to send everyone home happy. And there's even going to be a late substitution as well. Taktasaka coming on if he gets a chance.
I don't know if you saw Michael there, but Willie Cromack scooted down the sidelines there like a little child. It was quite funny, but
I was too busy like celebrating myself. Oh, and we don't want to see this at the end. McMillan kicked out at the man bun, and he didn't react well to that at all.
Tyler John, a.k.a. known as the man bun there, and it's yellow card coming up here for the Rovers. Things got heated real quick here. It's been boiling over since the Varela chance in the corner kick earlier. But
which you want to see in a good Cascadian derby. McMillan definitely kicked out there. He is, to just get a booking, he is possibly a little bit lucky. I think in the dying seconds, it's like everyone's just wanting this game to go over, but needless. McMillan was fouled. Oh, it's a red card. Tyler John, of course, was booked for the incident with Varela earlier, seeing his second yellow.
So John will walk slowly off the field here as Taktasaka waiting anxiously to come on the field.
Rush of blood to his head, possibly the man bun a little bit too tight for him.
Cromack.
Getting into a bit of verbals now with Will Cromack as well. It's been an eventful short time on the pitch for Tyler John.
Yeah. Left back came on and
being escorted up the tunnel by one of the Sounders coaching staff as well. Really not happy. McMillan kicked out at him. It was a free kick to TSS. It was a needless kick. Could easily have seen McMillan getting a red there as well, but a second yellow. And calling Ziggy Verhoeven over now, but I think it's for the substitution more than a booking. It's kind of hard to tell right now.
I think he wanted to go a long way just because of the fact that he wanted to get off the field as quick as possible. Willie waved him over and said, take the long way home. So a round of miraculous applause here at Swangard Stadium for Mr. Zach Verhoeven, who can hold his head high after a very good inaugural season with the TSS FC Rovers. Up 3-2 right now, and if I don't get myself ahead of myself here, it should be an excellent finish to the season after going up 2-0 and then going down.
You have to think so. It's like there's seconds remaining. The referee's probably going to blow after this free kick. and it'll be a great end for TSS. Send the fans home happy with a smile on their face. Send the players home happy as well, feeling that they've achieved something with a fighting win.
Ryan Dillon will let that one bounce out. A couple more seconds will tick off the clock here. Ryan Dillon will let it go. And Kerman Panu, that's it.
There we go.
The TSS FC Rovers finished their season with a 3-2 incredible victory over the Seattle Sounders U23. If you missed this one, hopefully you can watch it online on YouTube again. I certainly will. What a game for the Rovers as the fans come onto the field. The Swan Guardians enjoying it here, and what a game it was. That's the final here tonight. The Sounders lose to the Rovers 3-2 here, and what a game it was as we'll go over the scoring here. Hildebrandt scored the first one for the Rovers, and then Ryan Dillon got the second, if I'm not mistaken. Dan Davison got the second for the Rovers.
Lovely little headed flick. I mean, first goal from Hildebrand, sweet strike.
Yeah.
Lovely turn in the air from Davidson to knock in the second.
And then the Sounders got two quick ones to bring it within 2-2, and then a couple minutes ago, maybe in the 90th minute, Matteo Polisi finished off a beautiful pass, unselfish at that, from Daniel Davidson to score the goal. And Michael, it's been a great season with you, and just enjoy that. And thank you so much for joining us here on the stream. Gideon Hill, Michael McCall, any parting words, Michael?
Yeah, just before we go, I have to thank TSS Rovers sponsors for this season. Parallel 49 Brewing, check them out at parallel49brewing.com. The shirt sponsors, they provided the beer here at Swan Guard as well. Puma is the shirt suppliers for TSS Rovers. Nice to see something a little bit different with a Puma shirt. It looks fantastic out there. We've been AFTN. We've brought this broadcast all season with the help of Sports Canada. They're a fantastic company that do a lot of good work in the local scene, shooting a lot of sporting events. If you need any sporting events shot, get in touch with them. You can follow all our stuff online away from the numbers, aftn.ca. On Twitter, AFTN Canada. On Instagram, at AFTN Soccer. Big thanks to our stats guy, Joe Deasy. Give him a follow on Twitter at cheesy_Deasy. There'll be photographs up from this game and all the TSS games from this season from Tommy Waziak at Residual Image on Twitter. And we'll have a season recap on AFTN as well, and a chat with Colin Elms just about how he feels about the future of the team and of Canadian soccer.
If you want to give me a follow on Twitter, it's at Gideon Hill _18 or at Gideon Hill 18. I want to thank you so much again for joining us here from Swan Guard Stadium all season long, for your patience and watching with us, and what a spectacle it was this season, especially tonight. So Gideon Hill, Michael McCall, Joe Deasy, our statsman, thank you so much again for joining us. We'll hopefully see you next year when the Rovers hit the field for their second game. But the final tonight, TSS FC Rovers 3, Seattle Sounders U23 2.